With the authority of the Council, I shall now confer the degree of Doctor of the University. I call upon the Acting Vice-Chancellor, Professor Dennis Lincoln, to read the citation.
Acting Chancellor, the Council of the University has resolved to award the degree of Doctor of the University to Anthony Gould, AM. Acting Chancellor, Tony Gould was born in 1937 in Sydney and educated at Sydney's Sutherland High School, now known as the Endeavour High School. In 1955, he was awarded a scholarship to study drama at the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Art in the United Kingdom. He graduated in 1958 and undertook an acting career in London, where he performed on stage as well as with the BBC and on commercial television. Tony Gould joined the Australian Elizabethan Theatre Trust on his return to Australia and remained with the organisation for 11 years. As administrator of the Trust's performing activities, he was involved with national tours by the Australian Opera, the Australian Ballet, international orchestras, concert artists, drama companies, and dance ensembles. He joined the Australian Broadcasting Commission, ABC, in 1972 as State Concert Manager for Queensland, and was soon promoted to the ABC's head office in Sydney. The ABC's concert department at that time was responsible for mounting some 750 concerts annually, covering audiences of almost 1 million people. In July 1979, following a worldwide search, Tony Gould was appointed Director of Queensland's $130 million Performing Arts Complex at the Queensland Cultural Centre. Since the royal opening of the complex in 1985, the centre has received acclaim for its achievements in the areas of dance, drama, symphony, concerts and opera. In 1988, the Performing Arts Complex hosted the largest international arts festival ever held in Australia as part of World Expo. Under Tony Gould's direction, the complex has become known internationally for its contribution to the development of social justice, performing arts programs, arts education activities, special initiatives for the elderly, the young, the disabled, and the disadvantaged of the community. As a member of numerous committees and organisations, Tony Gould has played a leading role in the development of the arts in Queensland and Australia. He has been a member of the Federal Arts Committee for the Australian Bicentennial Authority, as well as chairman of the board of the Queensland Symphony Orchestra. He has also served extended terms on the Council of the Queensland University of Technology, the Queensland Arts Council, the Queensland Cultural Centre Trust, and the Music Council of Australia. He is a member of the board of the Queensland Performing Arts Trust and the Australian International Cultural Council, which was established by the Minister for Foreign Affairs and Trade to promote Australia's arts image overseas. In addition to his responsibilities as Director of the Queensland Performing Arts Trust, Tony Gould was Artistic Director of the 1996, 1998 and 2000 Brisbane festivals, which received wide critical and public acclaim. He has been appointed Artistic Director of the 2002 festival. In 1999, on the 20th anniversary of the commencement of his stewardship of QPAC, Tony Gould was honoured by Brisbane Tourism for its special award of Outstanding Contribution by an Individual for his personal commitment to the tourism industry in Brisbane. In the same year, he received the Perform 4MBS Award of Senior Arts Administrator in Queensland. Tony Gould was made a member of the Order of Australia in 1994 in recognition of his outstanding contributions to the arts. It is fitting that Griffith University should honour Anthony Gerald Gould in recognition of his distinguished service to the arts and to the community. Acting Chancellor, it is with the greatest pleasure that I present to you Anthony Gerald Gould, AM, for admission to the degree of Doctor of the University.
I now call upon Anthony Gould, AM, Doctor of the University, to deliver the occasional address.
Acting Chancellor, Mr. Henry Smurden, Acting Vice-Chancellor, Professor Dennis Lincoln, members of the University Council, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to all graduating students on your success here today. Each of you has met many challenges to achieve this milestone in your life. I admire and commend your tenacity and recognise your self-sacrifice, which is so often part and parcel of the study process. This university is, by any measure, an outstanding centre for learning and scholarship. I say without fear of contradiction that it is viewed this way throughout Australia. And of course, our country has some of the best tertiary education establishments in the world. I'd like to speak a little about my life as a drama student and my subsequent career. Before I begin the substance of my talk, however, may I point out how significant this occasion is for me, because growing up in Sydney as the youngest of a large working-class family, one had few opportunities to ever be part of a distinguished academic community. One of my goals here this evening is to convey to you the special meaning that becoming a doctor of this university has for me. I propose to begin this through reflecting briefly on my early life and then sharing with you some of my thoughts on being an effective manager. When I was young, I wanted to be an actor, like the actors I saw in the movies every Saturday afternoon. This Saturday afternoon ritual would be very familiar to many young Australians looking for escapism during the post-World War II era. At the age of 8, I guess I really wanted to be a film star. At 19, however, I just wanted to be an actor. And I was fortunate to be awarded a scholarship to go to England to study at the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Art. A fateful opportunity which began a career in the performing arts spanning 45 years. Drama school and my ensuing years working as a professional actor in the UK exposed me to the extraordinary experience of life in the theatre. I'm afraid I never made it as a film star, but I have experienced a life which is beyond anything I'd ever dreamed of back home in suburban Sydney. My subsequent career has led me away from acting into production and arts administration, and finally to producing major stage and television shows, festivals, and running this art centre. As you'd appreciate, I've been involved with the staging of many hundreds of plays, musicals, dance performances, and orchestral concerts. And I've no idea how many performances I've attended over the years. Many thousands, I should imagine. As you can see from the silver of my hair, I'm not a young man anymore. Indeed, I've had an extraordinarily long working life. Over this time, I've been employed by a number of different arts organisations, and I've had first-hand experience of changing trends in public and private administration and general management. For the past 22 years, I've been CEO of the organisation which occupies one of the most expensive buildings ever constructed by the Queensland Government. I refer to this beautiful performing arts here this evening. Having committed my life to the theatre, I have a special interest in the future of the performing arts industry. It's appropriate, therefore, for me to commend this university on establishing truly world-class music and teaching facilities here at the Conservatorium on the south bank of our river. You all had a taste of that talent earlier this evening, and I really do believe that that ensemble was equal to anything, anywhere. The Con's commitment to excellence in the performing arts is the hallmark of a great university. Standards of excellence in the performing arts are only measurable outside of the framework of what is so often demanded in this age. It's important that universities spearhead the continuing challenge of educating the community on the subtle complexities of artistic endeavour. Complexities which have implications beyond the arts. This brings me to the subject of one of my concerns over the past few years: the extreme application of economic rationalism and corporate governments, and their potential to bog down development and creativity, particularly in the arts. Economic rationalism has been a huge windfall for accountants and consultants, but I sometimes have cause to doubt its contribution to the quality of life. I refer to those workers who wish to build a professional career based on sound values and job satisfaction, or who have an eye to long-term happiness with their families, or who just happen to be unlucky enough to be working in certain large organisations. And that, incidentally, is a big percentage of those of us who have a job. I think it's fair to say that the kinds of changes I've witnessed generally fall into one of two categories: those which have a technological base and those which are ideological. I don't want to dwell too much on the techno changes because I'm no expert in this area. In any event, such changes have been systematically and objectively documented throughout their evolution. We all know about word processors making their debut in the early 80s, the internet in the early 90s, and so forth. The impact of these changes has been revolutionary and predominantly for the good. I should caution, however, that we don't seem to take enough time to talk to each other face to face anymore. It's a little sad that some of the more engaging and fulfilling aspects of inter-workplace communications, collaborations, and debate have given way to emails and other dispassionate electronic network arrangements. This is a pity, and the workplace is poorer for it. But what about the ideological changes? I find these very interesting for many reasons. They're often dressed up as better techniques, new approaches, tighter controls, or accountability mechanisms. I suspect that these kinds of so-called workplace enriching developments can sometimes support a decline in the ability to use common sense and good judgment. It's my belief that excessive focus on economic rationalism has a tendency to make the simple complicated and promotes an assumption that everyone's performance in the workplace is suspect until proven otherwise. Let me hasten to say that I totally support the notion of accountability and it's as essential in the arts as in any other area of endeavour. However, it strikes me as alienating and a little enervating that these days some managers believe that one virtually needs an accountancy degree to compile a budget. The point I make is, sound management should be possible without the necessity to invest mega dollars along with the mega efficient infrastructure, whose primary purpose, it would appear, is to seek out those workers who have somehow been found wanting in the accountability stakes. Such extreme levels of accountability, I believe, cultivate a focus on means, not ends, process, not outcome. If large sums of money are expended on the process, the outcome can suffer. I've found that employees, by and large, are extremely trustworthy. They don't take improper advantage of their situation, and they quickly become capable of performing the most complex of work-related functions. In the same vein, public officials, by and large, do a very good job. And I don't believe that draconian efforts towards oppressive corporate governance significantly impact on the collective morality of the workplace. I've certainly seen no evidence of it. Indeed, just the opposite. Over-regulated workers quickly come to dislike and distrust management and resent the roles management play as corporate policemen. So, to those of you in the audience tonight who are going into the management areas, my message is this: trust people and let them find their own way. Don't assume they'll do the wrong thing, and don't invest excessive resources in keeping them honest. They really are quite honest without our help. People have always had a strong tendency to live up to the expectation of others, and they will perform well through trust, support, and empowerment. I have some similar concerns regarding some facets of corporate governance. With the workforce under the rule of some kind of corporate big brother, there is again the risk that entrepreneurial flair could be stifled and vision could be dimmed. And now let me share with you my thoughts on efficiency, something which is often touted as being a benefit of economic rationalism and the end result of effective corporate governance. We all need to be efficient in the way we go about things, but that doesn't mean we should enshrine the doing of more for less credo as the most sacred goal in organisational life. Throughout my career, I've known plenty of organisations, and I'm sorry to say, a few managers, who have been highly efficient, but have added little value at all to their workplace. Let me come to this point another way. We often talk about being efficient and effective. Why do we put them in that order? Why don't we say effective and efficient? Better still, why don't we make a judgment call and just say effective? After all, efficiency is only a preoccupation with means and leaves us less time to consider what we really want to achieve in our workplaces. So let me say to you, particularly those of you who will soon be starting your career as professionals, be effective first and foremost. But getting back to the arts, economic rationalists make the assumption that live theatre will die with the advent of digital technology, and that various multimedia incarnations will compete aggressively for the leisure dollar in future years. But anyone who subscribes to this theory hasn't been to the theatre lately. A visit to the theatre is often remembered for a lifetime. Not only do people find entertainment from performance, but on occasion, a life-enriching experience through challenge, confrontation, and provocation. Nothing gives me more pleasure than seeing an audience enjoying a performance. There's something life-affirming about a packed house of people connecting through a shared experience. The laughter of 2,000 people enjoying a joke on stage is still, for me, one of life's great pleasures. As I said earlier, it's certainly the case that the arts have to be administered along appropriate management lines, but that doesn't mean that extreme economic rationalism has to be employed. When such rationalists are in charge, the number of tickets which have been sold to an event and the best way of reducing staff numbers in the relevant arts organisation become all important. All at once, the concert or the production is no longer the key issue. So far as I'm concerned, the quality of the concerts and the productions will always be the key issue. This philosophy certainly doesn't apply only to the arts. It applies to virtually all of the professions which you'll be entering. No matter what anyone may say to the contrary, there are certain things in life, those things dealing with people and the human spirit, for which there can never be a price tag. As many of you begin your professional careers, I'd like to share just a few more thoughts with you. Never be backward about taking up a challenge, and when necessary, making the tough decision. Don't always go for the safe option. When you've done your research on a project and you have developed appropriate knowledge, be prepared to dare. Focus on outcomes, not on process, and have faith and belief in your work colleagues. I believe that my having this approach is one of the reasons why this arts centre here in Brisbane is one of the most successful of its kind, not only in Australia but internationally. In conclusion, I should like to publicly acknowledge the support of my wife of almost 40 years, Jenny, who's here today. Without her help and guidance, I would have achieved very little. May I add that in acknowledging and thanking my wife Jenny, I also pay tribute to the special contribution of all parents, partners and families here this evening. To be made a Doctor of the University is indeed a great honour and reflects this university's high regard and commitment to the arts in Queensland. I should like to thank, particularly, Lenine Ford, my friend and colleague Henry Smurden, Dennis Lincoln, Roy Webb, Simonda Hahn, Greg Bamber and the University Council, as well as the staff of the university for this recognition. Most importantly, however, I wish all of you success, both professionally and personally, through your lives, in the years ahead.